Here we go. All right, welcome here, everyone. I am so excited to be connecting with you again today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Meg Hepner. I am a life coach and a hypnotherapist down in South Surrey, British Columbia, and I am part of this amazing project, Love the Woman in the Mirror, because how important isn't it to look in the mirror and actually feel good about yourself? And it's not something that we can sometimes do naturally. So I'm excited to be part of this project. I'm excited to just be a champion for this type of mindset. And today, I am exceptionally excited because I am joined with an amazing human being. Today, I am here with Alexandra Haldeman. She is a nutrition and life coach. Welcome here, Alexandra. I'm so excited to have a conversation with you today.
Thank you. Thank you, Meg. It's so nice to be here today, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. It's very exciting to be a part of this project,
Yeah.
and I'm very honored to be included and provide some support here.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me, who are you as a person and what type of work do you do?
So I am a nutritional health and wellness coach, and I started my own business called Fern Walk Health and Wellness. And I called it Fern Walk because I live in a micro forest in North Delta surrounded by ferns. And so that's what I see when I look out my windows. And I love the meaning and symbology of them as well. And I am a very much a nature person myself, and believe in the healing powers of nature and the elements and the plants and herbs. And I like to forage for things and incorporate it in my cooking and medicine. And I wanted to bring that into my practice as well and bring people closer to nature for healing and spirituality and all those wonderful things. And so I also work with people on their nutrition and even on my core beliefs in my business are that not one size fits all. Everyone is very unique, bio individual. So everything I do is based on that, and also with the idea that not just looking at what nourishes us on the plate, but also what nourishes us in the key aspects of our life. And usually, if there's an imbalance in something in our life, it'll affect the way that we nourish ourselves on our plate. So I look at our whole life nourishment and what's on our plate, and have that together, unified and balanced and sustaining us wholly. So yeah, I love collaborating and communicating with people. I love listening to people's stories. I've got quite a diverse background myself. I've traveled quite a bit. I used to be an adventure overland tour guide where I lived in Africa for 4 years and traveled across Africa. I taught yoga as well, did my yoga teacher's training there. I sailed from South Africa to Brazil, 4,000 nautical miles across the South Atlantic Ocean. Spent some time in Brazil for a while. So I'm quite worldly. I love culture and what all the different cultures have to offer when it comes to the people, the spirituality, the food, the clothing, everything, the landscapes. And I love listening to people's stories. I also came from quite a diverse childhood and upbringing. There's a lot I could tell you about that too. So I understand and relate a lot to healing trauma and working through life's challenges, and how to overcome and be resilient and live with courage and strength, and also to let go of the things that have burdened us or have hardened us too much. And so I really like to sit and listen to people and share stories amongst each other, and then find out a way that I can help encourage them to be their best self and succeed in their goals. And when that comes to nutrition, health, their life, their whole well being. And so I really look forward to, in my practice, I'm going to be including even some more healing modalities into my practice to help people in a variety of ways.
You know, I love what you're saying. First of all, when I go back to the first thing that you said about going for walks and foraging for things, I feel like you
Yeah.
must be a fascinating person to go for a walk with then, because
Yes.
when I when I was a little girl, my grandma lived with us And
Yes.
we would go for walks, and she would pick these different things on our walks and then come home and brew tea for us.
Yes.
And I was always like, how does she know how to do that? That's amazing. So I think one of these
Yeah.
days we'll have to plan a walk, and I'll have to just observe how you do it, because it's one of
I would
those
love that. Yeah,
gifts
it's true.
that,
And I do that exactly. And it's funny because people, when they do go for a walk with me, they go, and here's Alexandra's nature show. And everyone thinks, so you should be following you around with a camera, because I'm like, oh, here's this and here's that.
oh,
And the things that people might totally miss, you just miss it
yeah,
unless you, and once you get the eye for something, you have the eye now, you'll see it.
yeah.
And so I love that. And especially coming into fall this time of year and this new season coming is an excellent time of year to be foraging for the culinary and medicinal mushrooms and things like this too. So there's such a
Oh,
wide variety and abundance in the lower mainland here.
yeah, that's amazing. No, I love that, and I
Yeah.
think that that's a beautiful and unique talent to have, and so
Yeah.
beneficial for those around you. But I also love what you do and the way you describe it, because in this world, or feel like our culture, we're getting so um so into like expertise, or like just really getting specific, and there's
Yeah.
this lack of wholeness in our
Yeah.
care, right? Like so often you'll go somewhere and you'll go, I need help with my nutrition, or I need help with my fitness, or I need help with this, and then they take that and they just work on that little piece. And what
Yeah.
you're talking about is something completely different. What you're
Yeah.
talking about is saying, I see you as an individual.
Yeah.
I see your life experiences, so your history, your past, where you come from. I see your culture, because that's a
Yes.
huge thing. When we live in a globalized world where everything is like, supposed to be for everyone. Not only
Yes.
are we in our small communities supposed to fit a box, but our country is supposed to fit in the box, and globally we're supposed to fit in that box. And it's like, it's so not true. If you
No.
come from a different country, you have a completely different life experience, and that needs to be honored. And so,
Definitely.
incorporating that, and all of those different aspects of a human being, like, how beautiful it must be to
Yeah.
sit down with someone like you and to say, here's everything. Can you guide
Yeah.
me? Can you lead me? So what made you view that as important instead of saying, oh, I'm only going to work in this? Like, how did that journey come to you that you were like, no, no, I need to incorporate all of this when I sit down with a human being?
Yeah, I think it comes naturally to me, especially from, I also come from an occupational health and safety background. And so, as an occupational health and safety specialist, you're not just necessarily treating the incident, the symptom, or what you see in face value, but you're looking deeper for the root cause. And so that I bring that into this practice as well, where you're not just looking at the symptom, you're looking for the root cause. So sometimes you have to go back into someone's past, and you have to kind of peel away the layers to find out where this is originating from. And it could be cultural, genetic, it could be environmental, it could be something buried down there. And so I help people also and sometimes the person themselves, they don't put that connection together until they get the opportunity in a safe space where they're comfortable with somebody being, and then to be asked and kind of peel away those layers. And then you get that moment where you're like, oh, I just figured that out. There it is, make that
Yeah.
connection. And it's a really beautiful moment to help walk people through and guide people through those moments. And I think we're all always looking for the answers within ourselves. And so sometimes you just need to sit and kind of bounce the ideas or the stories back and forth off of somebody until you do find those answers. And coming from that investigative kind of practice and experience, I'm always really looking and seeking to understand the big picture, because there's always more than what's just at face value. There's much more than that. So, and that's quite fun. That can be an adventure in itself. So, and I'm an adventurous person.
Totally. Well, it's interesting because inside of each person, I always think there's this universe, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's this entire universe in our heads to explore, and you never reach the end of it, because people, I just
Yeah.
find, are so fascinating. So I love that. I absolutely adore that. What was your health story like for you? I mean, obviously you've had so much happen in your life and you've experienced so much. What was your experience like, whether it was an emotional thing or whether it was a physical thing? What was your health experience like?
Yeah, I've had an emotional journey and physical. And so it started out for me where, well, it took many, many years to understand that I had something called CPTSD due to multiple ongoing childhood traumas. And you kind of wonder sometimes why you're reactive in a certain way that you are, and especially as a teenager where the emotions are running high and everything's going on. And it's taken me a long time to start, once these labels start popping up, to realize, okay, that's what's going on. And but always I was always on a journey to be better and not let those things get the best of me, because when you experience these various traumas and things, it can really take you down, and you're either going to choose to let it take you down, or you're going to prevail over it and use that energy as well to succeed in life and to believe in yourself, and that the things that have maybe been inflicted on you or oppressed on you is not your fault. You have the power to achieve anything you want in your life. If you have a will, there's a way, 100%. And so I was always seeking out. I grew up in a Christian home, and I was always believing that there was more, and I was always questioning. And so then, very early age, I was seeking all the different types of religions and studying and researching all these different spiritualities and things. And then I found yoga when in my early 20s, and that seemed to really click for me, especially just my body is very flexible, and I love the physical side of it. I love the mental side of it, the meditation, the breathing. It helped me so much when it came to my trauma. I realized how long I hadn't been breathing for. And even that connection with other people, and being hugged by my yoga teacher I remember the
Mm.
first time I thought that was even kind of like odd, but then it opened me up, and I realized like I had a lot of work to do to open up and release and let go. And so that was kind of the beginning of my journey. And I would sometimes take a step back and then come forward again. And eventually it led me to taking my yoga teacher's training, which was wonderful. And again, there was a lot of release. There was a lot of power, emotion, and release through that training, and wonderful connections. And also because of the traumas, I always found that throughout my life, at some of the most challenging parts of it, I struggled with my weight. So my weight would
Mm.
always climb. It was always a dictator of a radar of how I'm feeling inside. And if I was overweight, I was feeling miserable and terrible, and I was just self-soothing and trying to fill a void, to the point that I would stuff myself to the point of feeling terribly uncomfortable. And I've done that to myself a few times throughout my life. And so I always thought, for the longest time, I thought I either have to be starving myself and skinny, or I'm going to be binge eating and fat. And then after I had my son, who's 4, just before he turned, so after I'd had him, I actually gained, rather than losing the pregnancy weight, I kept it and gained more. And I had 45 pounds on me. And I'm not too big of a person. So 45 pounds made quite a big difference on me. And it was taxing on my health.
Mhm.
So I realized I had to make a change. And I decided before he turned 3 that I was going to get the weight off, get back on track, and learn nutrition better than I knew before. So I had tried many different diets, many different detoxes and cleanses, and all these different things. And I was like, I really need to learn the science of it, and then figure it out from there. And so that's what pursued me into doing what I did. And along the way, a lot of people were very drawn to what I was doing, watching what I was doing. And I had the tendency to influence quite a few other people in doing the same journey. So I realized, I would really love to make this a business, and a business of passion. That's something I really desire and enjoy doing every day. Even if I have a pile of work to do, it's work that I really love to do and work with other
Yeah.
people and help them with the understanding of I've been there too, and I really know how it feels to go through these struggles.
Yeah, I so adore that because there's something about sitting down with someone who gets it, not just from an intellectual level, like I understand how to connect the dots, but someone who knows how it feels. right?
Yeah.
Like, and to me, I can still relate to you because I'm the exact same way. I know if I'm doing emotionally well or not by what I'm eating.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
and so if my husband will sometimes laugh because he'll come downstairs and like our island in our kitchen will be like
Yeah.
full of wrappers. And he's like,
Yeah.
are you doing okay? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I lost my mind last night a
Yeah.
little bit. And it's like, okay, you need to take some time,
Yeah.
for some self-care. You need to take some time. And so
Totally.
to
Yeah.
sit down with someone who gets that,
Yeah.
what does that
Yeah.
feel like emotionally when it's
Yeah.
11 o'clock at night and you're still
Yeah.
sitting at the island
Yeah.
putting food in your mouth, not
Yeah.
because you're hungry, but
Yeah.
because there's something going on inside that you're not either willing to face or you're not ready to look at. Like, that's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. So, what a gift for you.
Oh,
I know those things are hard to go through, but what a gift
yeah.
for your clients and for you to be able to experience that with someone. I had two
For sure.
questions for
Yeah.
you. The first question is, how do you define trauma? How does someone know it's trauma that I went through? And in the beginning, when you were describing what you went through, you had some letters, a C, C, T, and I
Oh,
missed all of them. And I'm curious what that actually is. And if you could tell us
yeah.
a little bit about that.
Yeah, CPTSD
Oh,
is
sorry.
complex post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay.
So so you get people that, like, say you have a soldier that's been to war and has had an incident, or even a fireman or a paramedic or a police officer, most commonly, where there's an accident or a serious incident, and it causes a major amount of stress on that person, and it affects them for some time. And so usually that is based on a particular incident. The complex CPTSD is based on repeated incidents for a period of time, and typically from childhood abuse and neglect and things like that. So you often find that so children who have been often in orphanages or foster children, single family homes, been neglected by their parents. Parents maybe were addicts, had substance abuse issues, things like that. It can be various things. It could be just neglect, even just neglectful parents, and so it could be caused by a variety of different things. Mine in particular was there was multiple childhood abuse for quite a long period of time, and so that's something that it took a lot to work through and process. And there's many different ways you can process that too, by through counseling, talk therapy, through even physical release and breath work, and even the cold therapies and things like this too. So I've done all of the above. I think the breath work and the physical release is probably my favorite,
Yeah.
because I think you can talk about something so much and so many times and keep working it over and over and over again. But really, like, that physical release and that calming of the nervous system and engaging the vagus nerve and this and that, that connection has really helped for me a lot.
Yeah, well, and trauma is stuck in our bodies, right? And
Yes.
so the talking, it can help, but at some
Yeah.
point in time, you need to have the body work through the trauma and actually physically let it out. So
For
what are
sure.
the differences, or what are the differences in symptoms between PTSD and complex PTSD? Is there a difference in symptoms, or are the symptoms very similar?
The symptoms, I would say, are fairly similar. Like, you could be having, flashbacks and, nightmares, even hearing things, sometimes seeing things. And then just the anxiousness, and you kind of get uh, your sympathetic nervous system just gets turned on and maybe doesn't turn off. And so
Mm,
when you do have to deal with maybe a situation of conflict, or something that maybe is like a similar type of person from that incident, it could trigger it and it just all floods back. But both are very similar in
okay. Oh,
symptoms.
that's
Yeah.
that's interesting. Fascinating. It's actually making me go back to some of the people that I know, and I'm kind of curious. So yeah, I really appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
That's a that it's a real how would I say this? Walking through life carrying that
Yes.
is
Yeah.
a it's a heavy burden. And it must be such a fascinating thing for you to have someone come in and maybe on the surface say, I need some help with my health or I need some help with my nutrition. And then to be able to layer it down to say
Yeah.
something like, perhaps something you've experienced in your past is actually triggering, some of your unhealthy habits. It must be a
Exactly.
fascinating work, but also, wow, what a burden release for the people that come to you. Like that's
Definitely.
beautiful. Beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful work.
for
I love
sure.
that. So
Thank you.
what made you decide to be part of Love the Woman in the Mirror? Why was this something you went, "Oh, you know what? I'm attracted to this. This is definitely something I want to be involved in."
Yeah, I right from hearing the title, I loved it. And because it resonated with me, and I believe with every woman out there, because we're our biggest critics. And there's always this image we're trying to attain or achieve that has been pushed on us from either media or our family or just ourselves, our personal expectations that are sometimes unrealistic, usually very unrealistic, and so it can sometimes be very hard to love the woman in the mirror, and especially when you go through various transitions in your life, and one of them being when you become a new mom. Some people seem to gracefully just bounce back to normal and just do it with ease and make it look
Yeah.
wonderful, and the others, it's a huge struggle and transformation and massive change in not just your life, but your body and your mindset and your responsibilities.
Yeah.
And it can cause a lot of anxiety and fear and all these other things that happen. And when you're feeling like that, and also your hormones are all out of whack and everything, and then you look at yourself in the mirror, and it can be really hard to feel like you can love yourself. And meanwhile, your body is just created a life, a human being, and you still may be feeling like you're not good enough and you don't look good enough, and you need to look like one of these women in the magazines or something, or how a friend maybe made it look so much better or something. But
Yeah.
it takes some time, and I found that afterwards, it really my weight was up. I just was blown up like a balloon, and I wanted to, and then I wanted to have a change, and so I went from my dark hair, I bleached it like completely blonde. It almost went like orange or something. I didn't know what I was doing, and then my even my vision was strained after having my son, so I had to wear glasses for a little bit. I looked like a completely different person, and I thought,
Mhm.
oh my goodness, is this just who I'm going to be for the rest of my life now? Like I'm a mom. That's my title. That's who I am, mom. And then
Yeah.
you lose yourself too, and you kind of think maybe that person's gone, and it's a very confusing time. But it takes time, and it doesn't happen overnight for everybody, for anyone. Some can be a little quicker than others, and some it takes some time. And I think you really having that support system to help you to really believe in yourself and be patient with yourself, and not just the self care, but the self compassion towards yourself. We are, we're taking care of our baby and our house and our family, but and treating the, and saying how beautiful and wonderful they are. But what about us? We have to remember to say that and really believe it in ourselves too, and just and be patient with that transition, because it's transforming. And then you can, and now I feel like coming out on the other side of it, I'm better than I am the person who went into it, who I was trying to get back to be, but I'm actually made myself better than that person. So it's possible, and I think this is a way that can help support women in believing that in themselves, that you are beautiful no matter the what however you are. And I think in those sensitive times in our life is the time that we need that the most, to be spruced up and pampered and treated well, and coached and counseled in a group of women who have been through similar things. And that's something our society has by far disconnected with. And I think now there are starting to be some groups like this popping up where after having a child, you can join a group and be counseled and cared for and supported. And it's so important at that time. So I believe that this group is doing that, and in a fun way where you can have your makeover and photos and some coaching from different professionals and even network. And a lot of times when you do something like this, sometimes those people that you network and did it together with could end up being lifelong friends too.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful, and I think this is exactly the right time that women really, really need the support and to remember to love the woman in the mirror and really believe it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally. And it's such an incredible thing because here in North America, we believe so much in the individual, right?
Yeah.
And we forget that we're a community and that we desperately need community. And if
Yeah.
you are going through something, and even if you're not, but I mean, especially if you're going through something like new motherhood or empty nesting or trying to figure out how to raise teenagers or toddlers or whatever,
Yeah.
we look at our culture and we look at the Instagram moms, we look at the, celebrities, and we go, well, they look like they
Yeah.
have it all together, right? We see all these
Yeah.
cute pictures. And then we can look at reality, which everyone experiences. We just don't all show it. And we
Yeah.
go, oh, we're struggling. Oh, you know what? I just have to try harder, be better, all this type of stuff. Instead of realizing, you know what? I need community that supports me. I need
Yeah.
community that can lift me up and can walk this path with me.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think this is such a beautiful way of doing it and of
Yeah.
doing it with people who, like yourself, create such a beautiful, safe space for someone to come and say, here's what's really happening.
Yeah.
Here's what's, all the parts of me. What
Yeah.
can you see that I can't see? So, what a beautiful, beautiful thing to be a part of. And I'm
Yeah.
so happy that you are because you are just an absolutely wonderful individual, wonderful human being that wants to do this and create this space for people. So, we're so lucky
Yeah.
that we have you on
Thank
board.
you.
We're so lucky that you're here.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
yeah, so with
Yeah.
Love the Woman in the Mirror, we are doing workshops for women. What is your
Yes.
workshop about?
So my workshop is for eating for energy, and it is to help people, to help understand what foods give you energy and what foods are going to drain, like take not give you energy basically, and even drain you, because often we're not consciously thinking about. We're just kind of eating whatever's quick and whatever's there. And then you're wondering why, like, oh, now I'm so tired, or, now I need more, or so there's foods that fuel you and keep you sustained for longer periods of time. And when you're nourishing yourself with the correct foods, it discourages you. It's less likely that you're going to be prone to wanting to have the sweets and the bad foods and things like this. So I encourage people to, rather than to like eliminate or deprive yourself, you crowd out the bad stuff by filling it in with lots of good stuff. So like wholesome veggies, fruits, lean proteins, healthy quality fats, and whole foods. And also I really promote eating locally, eating seasonally, when you can get the fresh produce, trying to get organic as much as possible, understanding labels and hidden toxins and other words for sugar and things like this. A lot of people don't realize just how much like stuff is put into packaged food that you're like, oh my God, this almost doesn't even qualify as food anymore. and
Yeah.
and then also how to like, make things easier for yourself, time management and prepping, and ideas for like ways to shop to make it happen a little like quicker for you. And also just understanding cravings um, and deconstructing cravings a little bit, so you can kind of understand where they're coming from and what's causing them, and how to mitigate the risk of having frequent cravings. And
Yeah.
we get into a little bit of like mood balance as well as a part of that as well. So when you have like your whole foods and your diet running smoothly, then you'll also be improving your mood balance and your energy, and your sleep will improve. Cognitive function, you'll be able to make better quality decisions in your day without having brain fog, and it just helps make everything feel easier in such a busy life.
Yeah, okay, so that is a
Yeah.
workshop that you can't miss. That is an
Yeah,
amazing workshop, and really what I love is it's such a foundation for your life, right? Because
it is. Yeah,
food is life, we have to eat, and
yeah,
so much of what we all do is based on what kind of food do we eat, because we've all had that
for sure.
afternoon lull, and it's like, "Wait,
Yeah,
what happens if you didn't have the afternoon lull? What happens if
yeah,
you were sustained through it?" Right? And even
yeah,
with mood, what happens if you're eating foods that's really causing you stress, anxiety, or making you more susceptible to stress,
yeah,
anxiety, etc. Like, yeah, so your workshop is
totally.
something people
For
have because
sure.
it's foundational. So I cannot wait,
Completely.
because definitely I will be there with a notebook and a pen
Awesome.
taking notes for sure. So Alexandra, thank
Awesome.
you so much. Seriously, just for
Yeah.
who you are, first of all, because it's obvious, like I said, you're an exceptional person, but also for the work that you do. We
Thank
need
you.
people in this world who are doing good work, and you are part of that. So thank you for that. And thank you for being part of this organization and part of this community, part of Love the Woman in the Mirror. Honestly, so grateful that you're doing this with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate hearing all those things. It's just so beautiful. And I think you're amazing too. And thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. And I'm so looking forward to working with you more.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone, for listening. Have a wonderful day. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.